It's about that time of day again, folks. Welcome back, 7:30 a.m. Eastern Time, Monday through Friday. My name is Joseph James. I've got my partner in crime, my better-looking half, Marty Errico, here with me. Today we're going to provide you with a very powerful crude oil morning prep. We're going from the screens here in Los Angeles. My name is Joseph James. I run a live trade room at SchoolOfTrade.com every Monday morning at 8 a.m. Eastern Time. Come out and check us out. We get a free trial over on the website. I'm here in Los Angeles, California, and I've got some screens to look at today. I got my charts up on my computer screens here. And, of course, right along with me here today, I've got my partner in crime, a fellow School of Trade member, and, of course, our pit analyst this morning, Marty Errico from Traders Audio. His partner, Jeffrey, and himself, they run a great live broadcast every morning. Check out tradersaudio.com for more information about their crude oil and natural gas at the NYMEX pit broadcast every morning at 8:50 a.m. Eastern Time. Now, Marty's in the trading floor. So together, we're going from the screens here in Los Angeles all the way to the trading floor on the NYMEX in New York City. Pretty exciting and powerful way to begin your day trading crude oil and natural gas. Now, I'm a technical analyst, which means I'm using charts. I don't use much fundamentals. In fact, I believe the technicals lead the fundamentals, right, in most scenarios. Today, we'll be loading up some charts, and I'll provide you today with a top-down approach. Top-down approach means I'm going to start with a slower time frame first and work my way down to a faster time frame. I'm going to analyze what's happened overnight, what's happening coming out of London, right? We're trading the U.S. morning session. So the previous session to that will be the London trading session here in the U.S. My job is pretty simple. By using a top-down approach, starting with a slower time frame, then working my way down to see what happened coming out of London, well, I think I can anticipate the direction at the open pretty darn well. If I can anticipate direction, then I can use support and resistance levels to look for high percentage trading opportunities, right? Pretty simple. I'm going to begin looking for trades this morning on crude as early as 8 a.m. Eastern Time, all righty? Now, once I'm done looking over the charts this morning, I want to toss it all the way across the country to the NYMEX exchange, and we're going to listen in to Marty and see what he's seeing and hearing on the trading floor. Guys, the trading pit, the trading floor filled with locals and institutional buyers and sellers, one of the most active trading floors in the world. This is very important stuff, guys. Marty's going to be providing us today with analysis on market direction, intermarket divergence, market internals, option prices, and those important pit session trading levels. Now, don't forget to pay close attention when he's talking about those intermarket divergences between crude oil, RBOB gasoline, heating oil, and Brent crude, right? They're very easy leading indicators. And, of course, don't forget to pay close attention to those pit session trading levels. We're talking about the trading levels seen on the trading floor, not the levels we see on our charts. Oftentimes, they are different, so keep an eye on those towards the end of the call today with Marty. Now that you know the plan today, let's jump right into it here this morning because we have quite a bit to talk about here today. Well, I guess maybe not all that much to talk about. Really, everything breaks down to, are you ready for non-farm payrolls? Today's the big day, right? Cinderella's ready for the ball. We got everybody's dressed up and ready to go. We got all the numbers crunched. The analysts are here. Everything pivoting around this non-farm payroll news report. Now, if you're a brand new trader, let me bring you up to speed. The non-farm payroll news report is the biggest news that we see. It's bigger than GDP. It's bigger than FOMC. It's bigger than anything else that we can possibly get our hands on. Ultimately, the non-farm payroll report number is going to show us how many jobs are being added. What is the actual increase in the jobs market? What's the average earning? What's the unemployment rate? There are numerous different reports that will all be coming out with this employment situation number, right? Employment situation, it's non-farm payrolls at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Time. Now, this news report is different than any other report in the sense that there are so many people that are analyzing this report before it even comes out that most of the time what happens is if this news report comes out within expectations, the market tends to be very sloppy and sideways because have you heard that term before, pricing in? What does pricing in mean? Well, pricing in means that if I woke up on Monday morning and on Monday morning little JJ says, you know what? I think non-farm payrolls on Friday are going to be very bullish. And so on Monday, I start looking at what that news is expected to be, because they, of course, they publish, right, projections. They publish their anticipated numbers, right? So I formulate an opinion of what that non-farm payroll number is going to be. And I seem to think it's going to be record high, right, for whatever reason. Okay, it doesn't matter whether I think it's going to be higher or lower. Okay, little JJ now begins to manifest by buying crude oil, buying euro, buying you fill in the blanks. So I look out at my portfolio of the markets that I like to trade, and subconsciously now I'm, as they say, married to the upside, right? I become a perma bull ahead of the non-farm payroll news. See, human beings have this very interesting phenomenon. It was highlighted in that recent, very popular book called The Secret, a movie called The Secret, right? Where whatever you think will happen just happens to manifest. If you think it's going to be a great day today, well, chances are higher that it's going to be a great day than if you thought today would be a horrible day, right? If I am expecting the non-farm payroll number to be higher and price to be higher, whether I like it or not, I am going to now subconsciously place my bets assuming that that's going to be higher. And so what ends up happening is by the time we actually get to Friday's report, the markets have already priced in what the expectations were on Monday. So that's where pricing in comes from. And non-farm payrolls is one of the biggest culprits of pricing in. Now, don't get me wrong, guys. We are probably going to see some excellent volatility today. Real quick here, thinking about where we are today, this is always a very important exercise we do each morning. Thinking about what day of the week, what week of the month, what month of the year. This is Friday, the first week of the month of September, right? The first Friday of the month, so we know it's non-farm payroll Friday. The month of September, a very exciting month to be a trader. Right? Month of August, we talked about the summertime doldrums, everybody on vacation. Now the month of August, it is go time, and people are back in the action, back in the pit, back at their desks. The kids are back to school. Now we're ready to get back to the action here and get back to business. So we know the month of September is going to be an exciting one. We also know the first week of the month, just like the last week of the month, is oftentimes filled with impulsive trading, right? Traders who are anxious to get started, or traders who might be trying to, of course, pad their numbers if it's towards the end of the month. The beginning of the month oftentimes will bring a lot of hedgers into the marketplace. We'll listen to Marty on his broadcast talking about big locals in the market. Now, today is a very popular Jewish holiday. Of course, we've got the Jewish New Year right now, so I have a funny feeling a few of those big boy locals are probably going to be absent today. I'll let Marty talk about that a little bit later on. Happy New Year out there to all my Jewish friends. But as you know, we expect that first week to be filled with speculative buyers, jet fuel buyers, cruise liner buyers, FedEx, UPS, shipping companies. They need crude, and they're going to execute hedge orders right today, tomorrow, and early next week. Now, what do we know about a Friday? A Friday is always a variable. Remember, guys, Fridays are those days when you get those impulsive traders. They lost their shirt Monday or Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. For whatever reason, they're well underwater right now, and they're going to be Hail Mary trading going into the end of the day today. It's important that you remember Fridays have a different feel to them. Fridays are notorious for being an early in, early out type of market. That means get in early, but be patient, waiting for your setups, but get in early. And be aware that after 11 a.m. Eastern Time, this morning, we really need a very important reason to be trading. Most of us will have already made our money before 11 a.m. this morning. Now, again, we throw non-farm payrolls into this equation, and now really we may have a situation where we can trade after 11 o'clock. Doesn't usually happen that way. Just be aware, though, after 11 a.m., I consider my trading to be higher risk on a Friday morning. On a non-farm payroll Friday, be aware, guys, there is a large proportion of professional traders that do not trade today. Trust me, there's a lot of pros out there that make a very good living every year, but they don't touch non-farm payroll Friday. The reason they don't is because there's so many wrinkles to this news report, right? Hourly income, hours worked, unemployment rate, non-farm payrolls being added, and of course they'll update the July durable goods orders today. There's so much that's going to be talked about at 8:30. It'll be analyzed quickly and then it'll be gone. So it all depends on what happens here at 8:30. If the news comes out bullish, we're going to wait 10 minutes and then trade with the new trend. If the news comes out bearish, same thing. Wait 10 minutes and then trade with the new trend. One thing is very, very, very sure. We must wait a few minutes after this news report comes out. No matter what the news comes out is. If the news comes out as expected, it's going to be sloppy. It's going to be sideways because, of course, we talked about the market's pricing it in already. If the news comes out and catches everybody off guard. Now, most professional traders will have the scenario already planned out. If it comes out higher, they know what to do. If it comes out lower, they know exactly what their orders are going to be. So we shouldn't catch too many folks off guard, but every once in a while we see a non-farm payroll number come out that just smokes everybody's expectations, and the market just goes bonkers. If that happens, we need to recognize that and be very, very patient, waiting for it to get back under control. Typically what will happen is we'll see price action do one of these. Wham, right, where it goes everywhere, and then what we got to do is just wait for it to then find a new direction and then trade in that direction. We don't know if it's going to go up or down based on as soon as the number comes out. We have to wait for the reaction today. All right, so hopefully by now I've scared you a little bit about non-farm payrolls. Hopefully I've made you aware of the reality of the situation we're in right now. I hope I've encouraged you to be patient this morning, trade smaller size. If you're a brand new trader, do not go anywhere near that live trade account. You might as well just ship me and Marty the check, and we'll hold on to it for you because, again, this morning is not for the faint at heart or for the rookies out there to be testing the ideas out. All right, this is for the big boys and girls here trading non-farm payrolls. Be patient after this news report comes out today. All righty, enough of the non-farm payrolls. Let's look at some charts. Here we are this morning. Everything I'm looking at right now can be completely blown out of the water here as of 8:30 a.m. All right, so I'm just telling you right now, everything you see here right now may have to be redone after 8:30 news. Okay, what I always give the analogy of is an Etch-a-Sketch board. Remember those old Etch-a-Sketch boards, the two white knobs, right? Well, remember what happened if you shook it around? You go back to square one again? That's exactly what may happen here. We may see this market go bam, all over the place, and then start to find a new direction. If that's the case, you got to be careful. We got to go back to the drawing board and reanalyze these charts. Most likely, as you can see here, it does look like we're going to get a little bit of a bullish tone here. Now, it's very clear we got two really big clues on this 30-minute chart. Clue numero uno, the range coming out of London. 75-cent range coming out of London. What do we usually see? We usually see $1, right? Look back in time, right? Typical scenario is about $1 coming out of London. The first clue tells us a narrow trading range. A narrow trading range coming out of overnight trading is a very big clue telling us that for some reason, and we may not in most situations know why, but for some reason, the market is waiting for something. What could we be waiting for? I think we talked a little bit about a certain news event this morning at 8:30. Absolutely. We can assume the market personality is narrow right now ahead of non-farm payrolls. And it's amazing because when you look at these major news reports, FOMC, GDP, non-farm payrolls, most of these major news reports, ahead of those news reports, we see this almost blissful fluttering higher. It's very typical of these major news events, how price will tend to flutter higher, almost as if to suggest that price is going to move higher. But again, this shouldn't be our reason to be buying right now. Our reason to be buying now will be after the news is released at 8:30, we start to see that personality continue to go higher. We really can't use this bullish trend. We can't use the fact that we've got this narrow range. The narrow range tells us, okay, we're waiting for something, probably non-farm payrolls. We see we're trading at the previous high of day. That in itself is fundamentally bullish. We talk about this all the time. Yesterday morning, if you recall, we talked about we were in the middle of the range. Remember that yesterday morning? What do we say about the middle? When I'm in the middle, I have equal opportunity to buy or sell. The buyers nor the sellers have really given me much clue. But now, trading towards the previous high of day, or now, of course, above the previous high of day, this is a huge clue. We know that if the buyers are confident, they'll be buying the highs. Clearly, they're confident. We expect higher prices here today. Keep an eye on two things. First of all, I've got support below me in a trend line. Okay, that trend line will easily be an excellent buying opportunity. We're going to sell short back below the previous high of day. That's the inside-out setup. And then we'll look for the bounce up the trend line and then giddy up, get right back to the races going higher. Ideally, I would much rather buy at this trend line than buy above the previous high of day, right? You make your money when you buy low and sell high. Now, another scenario here is keep an eye on resistance overhead. That 110.07, that is the high, if you go back in time here, that is the high now back at the end of August, right, just before Labor Day. So here we are now. We've got resistance overhead at 110.07. I've got support below me at that trend line. Additional support down around 107.23, 107.13 from the previous low of day. Again, all of these levels are important. If it's above me, it's resistance. I'll use it as a profit target. If it's below me, I'm using it as support, and I'll look for a buying opportunity at that support because of this bullish trend we're seeing. Now, let's see if that bullish trend continues here. As we go into some tick charts now, again, that was my 30-minute chart. I like to have a little bit of a time-based chart here. We can see here right now, boy, the little market that could, it is pushing right up into that. Of course, we've seen this many times this week already. Nothing new there. We see that resistance zone here now, 109.17, 108.23. We can easily see crude pushing right into it. The most important thing we see here, though, is notice the bullish trend. We have a bullish trend on the anchor chart number 1. That tells my students and my members in the trade room we are buying pullbacks right now here on crude. So we already know we're looking long on the anchor chart number 1. We go to anchor chart number 2, and now we begin to see a lot more information that we can use here to begin to feel confident here. Once again, we continue to see that bullish trend continue. We can see here the bullish trend channel, very easy to find. You can see we have, and again, our indicator packages make it very easy to see this stuff. We have an upward trend right now on the anchor chart number 2. I've got targets up here at 110.50, targets at 112.24. Again, take this for what it is right now, guys. By the time that news comes out, by the time 8:35 comes around, we could be down at 105.50 or we could already be at 110.50. I mean, it really could be that easy. I'm going to be focused on buying here as we go higher. I'm going to use my wave pattern to get long, and I'm looking at 110.50 and 112.24 as the easy pickings targets here. It's a non-farm payroll day, so I would encourage you guys to leave a runner, and that runner is looking pretty tasty up there at 112.24. You could easily see that coming into play here. That's a little over $2 from now, and I could easily see crude going $2, $2.50, $3 today on a pretty hefty non-farm payroll number that comes out. As we go faster here, we move down to our entry time frames here, and as you can see, I'm just waiting for that entry here now. I've plotted out my entries around 108.40, just looking for the price to pull back here so I can get to that trade long. We are looking good to be buying here right now. We're seeing higher highs, higher lows. Everything hinges on that 8:30 a.m. non-farm payroll news this morning. Now, that's just one man's opinion, guys. I'm looking to buy here on crude, but again, I'm very cautious right now going in front of that 8:30 news. I'm going to wait patiently to see what the news comes out before we start taking any large positions this morning. But I'm curious to hear what Marty's seeing in the pit. Because, you know, at the end of the day, guys, we really are excited to learn what the market personality is, what the sentiment is in the floor. Are they ready to rock and roll out there this morning? Marty, how are you today? Happy Friday.
Yeah, morning to you, JJ. Happy Friday to you indeed. All right, well, so far off this morning's activity, remember, we spoke about this yesterday. We spoke about this the day before, right? We have some major levels that we're kind of running into at the moment, and those major levels include that 108.75 and that 109 even. Remember the resistance zone that we had up there from Monday's high, last Friday's high, right? So now as we're breaching above this and starting to catch a little bit of a bit above now your range, above your channel, above your wedge, I should say, this is going to be pretty significant too if we open up this session right at these levels above 109 and the number does look bullish, and yes, we can easily buy pullbacks up to 112 okay, that high that we had from last week. If you look with me real quickly here, we're just going to look across the board as we, again, have that non-farm jobs payroll report coming out in just less than now a half hour. First, I want to take a look here at your crude. And what I basically here for you in crude has been a series of upticks, right? Crude, RBOB, heating oil, the whole complex this morning trading higher, running up onto resistance. Now, that's the only thing that kind of worries us because we're up on this resistance, and it's a little concerning to most traders that I spoke to this morning and really kind of what I'm looking at personally. But crude, RBOB, and heating oil are all up on high, pretty much all running into some significant resistance. Even the Brent right now up at about 115.75. Again, we had 116 or 115. 80-something was the high from yesterday, so awfully close to yesterday's high in the Brent as well. But we want to remember news could really change anything. Right now, you look at the Brent WTI spread up below $7 at 6.69. That's very bullish, right? We have our front month OCC Novis and OCC Deces also looking rather firm, very bullish as well. So these are our spreads. These are our components that we look at in relation to direction, and all bullish. Only spread here we have Novi Dece. That looks a little unchanged right now. Again, I'll give it a green and a red hour. It's unchanged. But for the most part, all of our other markets here are looking supported of crude trading higher. But as we mentioned, this could change as we're into 8:30 news. Looking into now your dollar index, right? Looking into your other suspects here. Dollar has been just a hair lower on the day, right? We're down about maybe 13 points on the dollar, so we're lower on the dollar. We're higher on the euro, British, Canadian, and Aussie. So our commodity currency is looking higher. From there, let's move on over and take a look into your natural gas real quickly here, right? I want to take a look at natural gas after yesterday's large inventory number, right? We had that greater than expected draw, broke out of the range. Looks like here now we can just simply go like this. My hotkeys aren't working right now at the moment, so just bear with me here. Just simply we'll fib high to low from yesterday. 50% retrace. That could be our target here at the 363.5, right? BMT as well, so it looks like if we can break above these 359.60s, we're buying up to 363.5. That's simple. Crude, again, we're going to continue to watch this uptick above this resistance zone, that 108.75, 109 resistance zone, as we continue to open up above there, get some supporting news for jobs numbers above here. That could definitely get something going to the upside. Remember, this is going to be the last major piece of domestic data before the September FOMC meeting. So they're going to be really basing a lot of their rhetoric and a lot of their tapering logic off of this number. And if we do get an unemployment rate of 7.4% today, as expected, that'd be pretty impressive, right? So we'll be watching for the rate, and we'll be watching for the actual amount of average hourly earnings. We're going to be watching for the average work week and also that non-farm payroll number as the 8 o'clock bell. So again, this is going to be quite important today. We're going to watch this market very closely. Let's now talk about a few things in terms of levels here, right? I got levels for you on the crude from yesterday's pit session. We had a high, which we are above right now, 108.54, right? Above yesterday's high. Low, 107.23. Again, you can use that as a support level. Closing settlement number, 108.40. You can use that as a support level too. All right, daily pivot, 108.06, which we are well above at the moment by $1 at least. Resistance up above. Broke through that 108.89, right? Broke through that 108, really 107, I should say 108.75 to 109 we broke above. Now our next level of resistance is going to be right here up at 109.37, 110.68. I'll throw in the 112, right, because the 112 strike was very heavily bought, and they even come in the pit yesterday and buy 114s. They buy OCC 114s and Novi 115s calls. So that gives us an idea that we could see some upside as we have large paper buyers coming in and they touch that 112, 114 call in the front month OCC, and then they go out and they hedge in the 115 Novis. So that's pretty important. Support down below, we got 107.5, 106.75, and 105.44. Open interest has been just falling just a bit, squeezing out some of the shorts, 271,492. Again, that's important to see that we're squeezing out some shorts in this open interest. Volatility falls just a bit, but overall still very firm as we've been watching volatility hold steady at 30% for the last week, right? And now it's just down to about 28%. 27.50 on the OVX, but let's see how that changes today. I'm sure after the number we'll get a little bit of volatility buying from the big guys in the pit towards 9 o'clock when we open up. Again, the strike levels above 110, 115, and 114 to the upside. They show a little bit of interest here on the put side, but puts are real cheap right now. So if you're not buying them, you know, if you're not buying them, you're not looking out in the bigger picture just to buy insurance. You know, when it's this cheap, people are just buying puts for the hell of it, but they may be positioning themselves in call buying. Let's talk real quick about natural gas levels, and then we'll get you guys out of here. Natural gas, we have some pit session levels right from yesterday, 371.90 high. The low is 357.10. Yes, that is a very wide range here. We had almost about a 15-cent range. Talking daily pivot today here, 362.10. Resistance up above, 367.20, 377.10, and 392.10. Support down below, I got 365.40, 362.40, and 357.80. Those are short-term levels, but the larger picture here, we're looking at 352.30, 354.10, and 332.10. That's the larger picture. Again, shorter time frame, though. We're going to be looking to come in and buy these levels, but most important, looking and kind of trade around those levels, come back to those levels, retrace back to those levels here as we buy that last level of support, right? So these two levels, they're going to be support that becomes resistance, and they're going to be possible targets that we're going to be looking into, buying and going into, taking profit at those levels, right? So that's what we're going to be looking for here. Alrighty, guys, well, we do have numbers coming out in just less than 30 minutes. I'm going to get everything started early here as we are on the trading floor. Again, we have precious metal futures products about to open up in just less than about 20 minutes as we are ready to rock and roll here on a non-farm payroll Friday. I'm going to throw it back on over to JJ now in Los Angeles as we are still trading above that 109, so quite important here. Let's see where we open up this morning.
Boy, Marty, always great to hear from you, man. Thank you so much for coming in and joining us here. Happy Friday to you. Ladies and gents, we got a big day in front of us. I hope you guys are ready for it. As you've heard both Marty and I say many times here today, everything hinging on that 8:30 a.m. non-farm payroll number. I also want some feedback from you guys too. I'd love to get some feedback from you. Let me know what you guys like, what you guys dislike about the call. Do you want to see us add something to it? Would you like to see me cover a specific chart time frame or talk about a specific instrument? I'd be happy to do that for you guys on these calls. Would you like an invitation to come out and join us to be on this live broadcast each morning where you can ask questions and get all the instant feedback? Guys, shoot us an email. That's JJ at School of Trade, and, of course, my good friend Marty at TradersAudio.com. Check us out over at SchoolOfTrade.com and get a free trial on our webpage. And, of course, head over to TradersAudio.com, log in and listen to Marty and his partner Jeffrey broadcast every morning live from the NYMEX Exchange. It's just after the opening bell here, 8 o'clock Eastern Time to rock and roll. My live trade room is just getting warmed up. I'll see you guys there. Have yourselves a wonderful Friday. Be careful of that news coming out. As we said earlier, wait patiently until 8:30, and then wait for that trend to develop afterwards and follow the trend. The trend is your friend this morning. We'll see you guys back here on Monday morning. Next week, Monday morning, 7:30 a.m. Eastern Time. You know where we'll be. We'll be right here, same place, same time. Enjoy the Friday. Enjoy the weekend. Be safe out there, and don't forget to send us your feedback. From Marty Errico at Traders Audio, my name is Joseph James at School of Trade. We'll catch you guys here on Monday morning. Have yourselves a great Friday. Adios, amigos. Bye-bye for now.